L. Ron Howard wanted to start a cult.
L. Ron Hubbard.
That's 100% L. Ron Howard.
It's 100% L. Ron Hubbard.
It's 100% L. Ron Howard. 100%. What you gotta do is break him down. You gotta L. Ron Howard him.
That's not a thing. So much about Scientology except the guy's name. That's the easiest part of it. What would they invent Scientology like after he directed Backdraft in Apollo 13?
No, that was Ron Howard. I'm talking about L. Ron Howard.
Oh my God.
Guys, can we please stop?
Hey, happy Saturday to everyone watching from wherever you are watching from. Thanks to all the regulars that are already in the chat. I appreciate that. I've been kind of wondering how to go about this. I'm very aware that I can talk about a story completely out of context. And I never assume that everyone's watched every one of my videos, but unless you've seen an earlier video, you would have no clue what I'm talking about. But that being said, I'll just give a little brief summary of when I left Scientology and how this ties into my Saudi Arabia story. And a bunch of you would ask for that because I'd mentioned it in other interviews. So I thought it would be appropriate to tell a little bit of the story. It's kind of it's interesting in a way to go from Scientology, the cult, to the strictest Muslim country in the world. And even before I start the whole story, I want to make sure you guys understand my time in Saudi Arabia. I treasured. I loved it. It was amazing. The family that I worked for there treated me like I was their, other long lost son. It was really fantastic. But I know you're going to have a bunch of questions at the end, so we will definitely get to those. But let's just jump right onto it. And everyone that's watching, again, from wherever you're watching, you guys know how I feel about the SPTV network and the subscribers and the fans. You guys are amazing. You make this all possible for us. We enjoy speaking to you. So let's just get rolling because I know you're going to have questions at the end. Okay, so I was born into Scientology. My parents worked with L. Ron Hubbard. I was born in Clearwater, Florida in 1976, which was one of the headquarters of Scientology at the time. I grew up as a child in the cadet org in Scientology. I joined the Sea Org when I was about, I want to say, by the way, if you watch my videos, this date's going to change consistently because I don't have it nailed down. But somewhere between the ages of 10 and 13, I think I joined the Sea organization. I then went up to Golden Era Productions after spending a little bit of time at the Int Ranch. And I was there until I was about 27, 28 years old. I left in 2004, 2005. Okay, so I think I spoke with the Rabbit last week, and we covered a little bit of details about my story leaving. And it is something I'll get into a little bit more eventually. But one of the most insidious things that Scientology does, that the Sea organization does, that Osa and David Miscavige do, is when you leave, they're kind of hedging their bet. They want you to fail. They want you to understand that you made the wrong decision by leaving Scientology. Which, when you think about it, when you've got and I'm not alone in this. I have tons of peers and friends that all knew nothing about the real world when they left. So to throw a kid out there with nothing, give him $250 after he spent the last 15 years working for you is pretty sadistic. So for my first 5 years, I bounced around from different types of jobs. I was doing mortgages for a little bit. And, then the whole market collapsed in 2008. So, I really didn't have a chance to do much more with that business. I had a friend that hooked me up with a job doing post-production in Hollywood. So I was doing rotoscoping. I was using Adobe After Effects and stuff like that. And I was just going from project to project with that in around 2009. And things were tough. I mean, for my first 5 years outside of Scientology, I really didn't make that much money. I was always struggling, credit card debt, just trying to make it to the next month. I knew I wasn't really in the field I wanted to be in. Oh, shit. 1 second. Guys, I'm so sorry. That was not a prank. Could you hear anything of what I said? Tell me.
I did everything except for bring my microphone down. Here, let me see. I don't look at the chat, guys. Let's see here. 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. Okay. No, guys, I am on the right mic. I am on the right mic. Do I need to start that story over again? Please hit me up in the chat. Let me know. I'm so sorry. I don't always look at the chat. I got to get better at that. Here, 1 second. Let me do this, guys. Let me do this. Let me move this over so I can see the chat just on the right side if I need to. All right. Do I need to start that story over again? Nope, you're all good. Okay, thank you so much, Lydia. You know what? I had everything plugged and everything set up, and you just got to remember to bring your mic down from the top. It goes up, it goes down. Start again because we were distracted. I can't tell if that's true or not. Okay, so, and it is early. Thank you so much, Atkins from Texas. I'm still drinking coffee. Keep going on roll. Okay. So yeah, so my first 5 years outside of Scientology and this organization were really tough. Again, it was month to month. I knew I wasn't really in the thing I wanted to do in the long term. I was just getting by, and there was some assistance from different people along the way and help out and stuff like that. But I didn't, and I'll be honest, Scientology did offer to help me find a job, but I knew that was a trap. So I refused that help. Now, did they offer to help me find a job because they wanted to really help me out? Absolutely not. What did they want to do? They wanted to have me in a position where I was on a leash, where if I was talking to other people, they had someone to report back on me, where if I stepped out of line, they could cut me off instantly. So that was never an option, and I never fell for that trick. Anyways, in 2009, I'm working in post-production, and post-production in Hollywood is actually pretty rough business. It's pretty cutthroat. There's a lot of competition, a lot of people bidding for the same jobs, trying to do post-production. And believe it or not, I actually did work on a major film and did even get my name in the credits, which was kind of crazy. I worked on Day the Earth Stood Still with Keanu Reeves. Now, worked on it. I worked on 2 or 3 shots in the entire film, just doing rotoscoping. I was erasing the wires that were attached to the actors or actresses. And so that was kind of a fun project. But in the middle of 2009, I got, or I think it was 2008, either way, somewhere in there, I got a friend contacted me and said, and knew that I was going to be out of a job for about 2 months, and said, "Hey, I have a wonderful idea. Why don't you guys," Miss Amber Sunshine, don't worry if you're late because you missed. I didn't have the mic in front of me before, so you're okay. I had a friend contact me and said, "Hey, look, and this person worked for a celebrity as household staff, and she had been placed there through an agency." And she said, "Look at it, Sterling. I know you're kind of a jack of all trades. You're great with kids. You're a good driver. You're security conscious. Why don't you get a job working for a private position for a family?" And I said, "Yeah, hey, you know what? That could be fun, even if it's just a summer job." So I applied to an agency, and the next day I got a call back saying, "Hey, we have someone we'd like you to interview with. It is it's going to be a family that'll be in Los Angeles, staying in the Wilshire corridor, which is West LA area." And I said, "It is paid cash, and you just need to have a car. You're basically going to be taking the family around and driving them places and showing them around LA and helping out with whatever while they're there." So I was like, you know what? Hey, that sounds like a fun break. I wouldn't mind trying that. I interviewed with the family. And mind you, the person who set up the job, one of the first things he tells me is he goes, "This family is from Saudi Arabia." And, this wasn't too long after 9/11. And so there was still some resentment in a large parts of the United States about, honestly, people from Saudi Arabia or the Middle East at all. And me being in a little bit of a bubble in Scientology, I didn't get a lot of that information, nor was I prone to hating peoples or cultures based on just what the news reports. As you guys know, I like to make my own opinion on people, on places based on my experience with them. That does not mean that I negate information or news about them totally, or that I don't even study it. It's just that in this particular case, I had no reason to fear or worry about working for someone from Saudi Arabia. So I thought, hey, this is a great opportunity. So I interview, and I'm one of two people interviewing, and I actually end up getting, someone looked it up. I actually ended up getting the job. And to make a long story short about this particular time, I worked for them for 2 months in LA. I had a fantastic time. They were so kind, so polite. And of course, being as it is, I can't disclose the name of the family. That's just not appropriate when you're working that position. But what I can say is that the husband, the main member of that family that I worked for, was actually a Harvard graduated lawyer. And he worked in contract law in Saudi Arabia. At the end of that stint, the friendship had built up quite a bit. They had 3 wonderful kids, all boys that were big into sports. So that kind of, that worked out great for me because, as you guys know, I love sports. I also loved coaching sports for kids. So that stint ends. And right at the end, the gentleman says, hey, anytime you want to come out to Saudi Arabia and work for us, you can. I'll pay for your flight. You'll be out there. You have room and board, and I'll pay you well to be there. So I go, okay, great. I go, great. So I spend the next year trying to just make things happen. The market's tougher and tougher. I'm not getting a job. So at the end of the middle of 2009, end of 2009, I called him up and said, hey, I'm ready to go. Let's just go. And there had been a little pocket before that, where he had called me and said, do you want to go now? And I turned him down because I had some family members that did not want me to go. They were worried about me being American, being in the Middle East, and whatever else it may be. But, I was adventurous. I was ready for something new. I wanted to get at this time, I wanted to get out of LA. I wanted to live my life. I wanted to be free. I wanted to be independent as I could possibly be. So, I did get a call midway through 2009. Unfortunately, I turned that down. But what happened was a bummer too, because it was one of his friends flying a private jet all the way through Paris, France to Saudi Arabia, and I would have gotten a free ticket on that plane, which would have been awesome. End of 2009, I called him up and I said, "Hey, I'm ready. Let's do this." I meet him and the family in Houston, and then right after the new year, I fly to Saudi Arabia. Okay. Long flight, guys, really long flight. And while I'm in Saudi Arabia, I'm staying in a city called Jeddah, which is a port city in Saudi Arabia. It's also a beach town. It is a pretty diverse community there. It is filled with expats from all over the world. And how they have it set up there is, in a lot of cases, if you're an expatriate, someone from another country working in Saudi Arabia, you mostly would live on large compounds that have heavy security to get in, at least. And so there would be a whole community there. Because I worked for a private individual, not a large company, I had my own villa located somewhere in Jeddah. Beautiful, beautiful, 2-story, gorgeous, gorgeous villa. And most houses and villas in Saudi Arabia, even the smaller ones, have 8 to 10 foot walls. It's very enclosed. You don't have open front yards per se. And I don't know if that's a cultural thing. I think it is, but it's very protected in that way. Anyway, so I start there. It's a bit of a culture shock at first. The food's a lot different. They pray 5 times a day, and when they pray, everything shuts down. So you could be in line getting lunch, and then prayer would start, and you're stuck there for about 20 to 30 minutes. So that was a shocker for me. But even though I was in a foreign country and I only knew a few people, I really felt like $1 million. I felt like I was, traveling the world, experiencing, and I loved it. And quickly, I found out about the expat community, and I started making friends. And in the expat community, in the compound, is where they also had military, U.S. military, and U.S. military consultants stayed there. So I was fast to make friends with them because, guys, you know, to the wonderful people that protect our country, that served in the military, in the armed forces, friends like Mike Brown, there is something particularly cool about that sort of individual or lady that goes out and travels the world and consults and lives in a foreign country for a long time. They are just, you know, usually full of life, adventurous, and just all around cool to be around. So I ended up making a lot of friends quite quickly. At the same time, the person I was working for had a very, very large family, and they would constantly invite me over for dinner, invite me over to hang out, invite me over to play football, soccer. And so I quickly was in a very safe, comforting environment. Now, and one thing that's interesting, because we're contrasting this a little bit to Scientology, and I'm sure some of you have comments on Saudi Arabia and human rights and stuff like that, and I'll address some of that with you. Of course, I'll address some of that with you. But one thing that you wouldn't know until you were there is that if you are an American living in Saudi, you are essentially a VIP. And what do I mean by that? First of all, in Saudi Arabia, anything American is considered just awesome. Like they are fascinated by American culture. And like even they have a is it IHOP, or it's the other pancake place that has great breakfast? I forget the name of it now. And I've told this story a million times, so I can't believe I'm forgetting the name. But like any American restaurant there, on a Saturday morning or Sunday morning, there's a line that goes out and around the block like it's the opening of Star Wars in 1977. It's crazy. They really, really do. They've got a whole Harley contingent there that ride motorcycles all over the place because they love Harleys. There's a bunch of fascinating things about that country. And I just, you know, there was tons of facilities to play sports, tennis. And one of the things with my contract there, which was kind of awesome, was that because I had a work visa, not a permanent visa, I had to leave the country every 3 months and come back. That means I could fly to Dubai, stay there for an hour, and come back. But as long as I left and came back, well, I took advantage of that particular point because it being Saudi Arabia only being 4 to 5 hours from pretty much anywhere in Europe, I could just go travel for 5 days or a week every 3 months, right? And the first time I left Saudi Arabia, I'd been there for 3 months. I had wanted to go to Egypt my entire life. I was just couldn't wait to do it. I was so excited about it. I remember I booked my whole trip to Egypt, and you guys have seen the pictures. I think it's on my weight screen thing, but I was so thrilled to go to Egypt. I went there for an entire week. I went down the Nile. I went to the pyramids of Giza. I went to all the major locations in Egypt, and it was just knock your socks off. I almost felt like at that point I could leave. I've done what I wanted to. I was super happy. A couple months later, as you guys know, and as I've talked about the flag behind my head, I did go to Saudi. I did go to London, England to do a project for my boss there, and setting up a flat for him. And it was the culmination of being and traveling by myself, being outside, not depending on anyone else, being free and doing work that I love that really gave me that feeling of I finally gotten out of that cult. They no longer have anything to hold over my head. I'm in control of my life. So it was pretty fantastic. I worked in Saudi Arabia for about 5 years, I would say. In that 5 years, again, I traveled all the time. I went with them all over Europe, ski trips, different things like that. And then while I was there, I would manage the properties. I would do different things with the family. It was all in all, you know, of course, nothing's perfect, and you do run into things, but it was overall a very enjoyable experience, and I liked it. But it was interesting to look at a cross comparison. So one thing that I found fascinating is that the entire time I was in Saudi Arabia, it didn't matter. You know, I didn't list on my visa what my religious affiliations were. So as far as they knew, I was Christian, probably just based on the fact that I was American. And there wasn't an instant, not once, where anyone tried to force Islam down my throat or put it in my face. They were the family and everyone I dealt with, all professionals on the outside, everyone I dealt with were very polite about that. There wasn't discrimination in regards to that. It wasn't like shoved down my throat, which I found interesting, because this is the strictest Muslim country in the world, I believe. And I may be wrong about that, but that's what I've read. And there are a lot of rules in Islam that are abusive by nature and funny. In my opinion, the one thing about Islam and Scientology that are similar is that they have these scriptures that were written a long, long time ago, and they hold on to those things without updating them for current times. They hold on to these rules that maybe made sense at one point, not necessarily always, of course, in Scientology's case, but they maybe made sense, and they hold on to these rules. And that was the one thing that I could tie together that was kind of apparent. It's strange, but these rules just didn't make sense. Now, since I have left, there has been you know, a big shuffle in the leadership of Saudi Arabia. And I'm not going to comment either way. All I know about that is what I've read in the news. I've heard a lot of bad things. I've heard a lot of good things. I do know they're trying to be more progressive, which I appreciated, because, you know, in the class that I dealt with there, the women were not secondhand citizens, but I know that was a predominant thinking in that culture. And it seemed like they wanted to progress away from that. So I thought that was good. But that was the one thing about Saudi and Scientology that kind of was similar, in that they held on to these old ideas, whether they were right or wrong. They stuck with them moving forward. And it takes someone to break free from that chain to go, okay, well, we need to move forward. We need to realize that this is no longer, you know, the 600s or whatever Islam was created. I believe it was in the 600s or something like that. Anyways, so my whole stint there, traveling, sports, my boss there did a couple things for me sometimes that were just amazing. The first London series NFL games were Tampa Bay Buccaneers against Chicago Bears. He flew me out to London because he knew I was a Bears fan, to just go see that game once. It was pretty awesome. And a lot of time spent in London, whether renovating the flat or traveling with him. Anyways, I could go on and on about my experiences there, but I think that just gives you an idea. It's pretty wild to think that, you know, I went from growing up in a cult bubble my entire life. I'm out for 5 years, and then I go to a completely different country with like something just as far out as you can get from Scientology. And I always found it slightly amusing that you know, people ask, was Osa doing anything or anything like this? Well, you know, literally speaking, being in Saudi Arabia, I was the furthest from Scientology you could ever be. Like, it's illegal in that country to practice Scientology. They couldn't get in there. They had no ties in there. There's no way. Like, I was as far away from Scientology as humanly possible. And I think there was something slightly satisfying about that as well. But the overall experience was pretty amazing. And I think now that's kind of the story with Saudi Arabia, where I went there in 2015. I left Saudi Arabia to come back to the United States. And I got a job back here in LA, which I'm loving. But I will never forget my time there. There's so many special moments there. But I think that's the general story. What I want to do is get onto the questions, because I think your questions are going to be, you're probably going to want to ask questions about the experience there, or maybe contrasting Scientology. So let's just bounce right into that and make it easy. All right, let's see. Why don't I have... Interesting. Okay. I don't have, guys, if you do have questions, please put question in front of it. That way it's very easy for me to find it. But here we go. Let me pop these up. Witness, hello from San Diego. I need more coffee. I agree. So do I. And I do have mine right here. Okay, let's see. Wonder Woman, happy Saturday from Texas. Happy Saturday to you too. Lori Plays. Hey, I thank you for the photo of the Johnny Bench ball. You're tempting me to get out to Tampa again. But hey, Lori Plays, how are you? Let's see. Yeah, guys, thank you. Lori Plays, if I had been watching my chat, I would have seen that earlier. I don't like to watch my chat when I first start. I like to just get going. But hey, guys, sometimes I'm not perfect. Actually, most of the time I'm not perfect. SP Tattoo Warrior. Hello, young man. Hey, how you doing? Let's see what else we got. I'm going to have to go back and listen to the beginning to see how bad it was. I don't know if it was terrible because the mic is sitting up here and I do have it set for long distance talking, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Okay. Me and Taz. Hi, Sterling from Nova Scotia, Canada. Hey, me and Taz. How are you doing? Again, thank you, everyone. I'm going through all the ones that talk about the mic. I appreciate that so much. Let's see. Hey, fan of Kimmy. Hello from Sweden. It's cold and a lot of snow. I heard it's freezing in Sweden right now. My friend John, who is a pilot, just took off last night to Stockholm. And so I'm sure he went from the beautiful 65, 68, 70 LA to freezing Stockholm. So I feel for him a little bit. What else do we have? Thank you for everyone that let me know they could hear me. Just continue. Okay. Yes, Lydia Von Stretchclaw. Hit the like. Let's get starting to 11K. I'm, I think, 30 or 40 away from 11K, guys. That is amazing. Thank you so much. Please do hit the like and subscribe button. That is very much appreciated. I'm actually just going to check to see where we're at right now. Ooh, 13 away. Only 13. Okay. Lydia Von Stretchclaw, question. What work did the COS try to get you to take? They didn't ever have a specific field. I'm going to assume it was going to be with one of the Scientology owned companies, which in the end, I wouldn't have enjoyed anyways. I really needed to get into a service facility type position or something that's creative and allows me to use all my different skill sets. And so no matter what it would have been, I probably would have been miserable at it. I really kind of lucked into what I got into. And I'm always I understand how fortunate I was to find the field that I'm in. And I really do love it. I really do. Okay. Witness. I'm glad you didn't fall for that, Sterling. So am I. So am I. Okay. Miss Amber Sunshine. Oh my gosh, Sterling. I'm so late to your live. Sorry. I think you had perfect timing because I believe I just pulled my mic down right when you got on here. So you're lucky. You're lucky. Any questions? Please throw a question in front of it. Much appreciated. Purple Haze. I'm late. Glad to see you, Sterling. Thank you so much, Purple Haze. I appreciate that. How you doing, Beachcomber? Hello, y'all. How you doing, Beachcomber? Me and Taz, question for the chat. Is Sterling freezing a bit or is it my feed? Yeah, you know, I have no way of telling if there doesn't any apparent delay on my side, but it could be on your side. I am not sure. Ooh, Duchess Diana. Here we go. Duchess Diana, I would move back to Qatar if I had the opportunity to do so. I love Dubai and Qatar, and being a white American woman, I was on top of the food chain and treated like a queen. You know, good comment, Duchess Diana. I'm sure there would be some pushback on that, but in general, that is also what my experience was. I think some things are a little exaggerated about the women's dress, covering your hair and stuff like that. And to give you just a little bit of a tidbit of personal experience on that, I mean, when you're there, a vast majority of the foreign expat women that are working in Saudi Arabia, they're going to be nursing professionals, school teachers, some engineers, some military, but mostly school teachers and nurses. And so I ended up knowing a lot of them while I was there, and most of them had a really good experience there, and that is because it's an understood thing in Saudi Arabia. Even the police and even the patrol, they know that you just let them, you don't harass them at all. And there's a couple funny things about Saudi Arabia which you might not know, and I think they've changed this, but there were certain periods of on a weekend during the day and evening where if you were a single male, you were not allowed to go into a shopping mall. And the reason for this was, I know this seems kind of crazy, but was because they wanted families in there and families together shopping. They didn't want men hitting on single women inside the mall. And I know that sounds crazy, but even I was rejected several times from going in the evening. A couple times I was allowed in just because I was American. But yeah, no, it's a thing they have there where they just don't want, the younger Saudi generation trying to flirt with the single girls. Because, sorry, they would let families in and single ladies in. They would not let the men in at certain periods just to keep it, more controlled. I know that sounds insane. I'm just telling you how it went down. That being said, I'll tell you one of my experiences there, which is Jeddah as a city is pretty well protected, meaning there has been incidences, but it's a relatively crime-free area. It's not, you could walk around at night and be pretty safe. There are some areas which are a little more dangerous, but the central part of Jeddah in Saudi Arabia is pretty safe. But when you come in, they really do make a giant effort not to let anyone that has terrorist inclinations to come into Jeddah, where you have families, where you have business, and where you have expats. So on the weekends, if you went out on the outskirts and came back in, let's say you were hiking or camping, they have a long check line just to make sure you have an ID and you're valid to come into the city. And I was in a long, long line at one point, and one of the Saudi National Guard was walking, checking the cars, and he made me roll down my window and he said, please give me your ID. And I said, yeah, no problem. 1 second. Let me find it. And he heard my voice and he just went, oh, Americani, go, go, go. And I got to skip like 40 cars to go through because, again, if you're American, you're no threat to them. But I'm glad to hear someone else had an experience there, actually. There we go. Okay. Kestrel 42. I wish I could visit SA, Saudi Arabia. Always been fascinated with the culture. Check it out. I believe they've now opened it for tourism. They are really trying to reform everything. So check online. I believe you can go there now. I'm not totally sure, but yeah, there we go. Okay. What else do we have? Duchess Diana. They don't report that in the news. Yes, they don't. The news is biased for sure. I never had to lift grocery bags. I had a driver everywhere. The traffic was worse than LA. Guys, I have to say this about Saudi Arabia. The drivers are the worst of anywhere I've ever been in my life. They've got 4 to 5 lane highways. They do not stay in the lanes. It is like, I know this seems like to an American or anyone in a Western country, they will have 4 lanes and the cars will be all over the place, spread out, not in any particular lane. It is insane. It is really, I'm lucky to get out of there after 5 years because I drove everywhere without getting an fender bender or an accident. It is insane how people are cut off, piling up at exits. It is the most crazy place you'll ever want to drive. Trust me, it's an adventure every day there. Okay. Again, Duchess Diana, well, you clearly had an experience there. I had a huge apartment. I was an elementary school teacher. Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about right. Okay. Lydia Von Stretchclaw. I admit I would queue for pancakes. Yeah, you probably would. I just wish I could. Oh, Cheesecake Factory. It was the Cheesecake Factory. Yeah. P.F. Chang's Cheesecake Factory. Whatever Saudi company got the rights to those restaurants, they are making bank. It is insane, the lines to get into those places. It is crazy. It's not, the food's not as good as the United States versions, but still nonetheless. Duchess Diana, I'm seeing all your comments in there. Thank you so much. It is, you know, if you've been an expat and traveled there, you kind of more understand where I'm coming from. But thank you for getting in there. Okay. Lydia Von Stretchclaw, question: was it a shock to the system to go from practically imprisoned by COS to such broad travels? Yeah, Lydia, it was, but not as much as a shock as a slow unshackling of the chains. Opening myself to new experiences, meeting new people, making friends. It was in Saudi and London that I began to realize how much I enjoyed people in general. Because I'm the type of guy that can go walk into a Starbucks, and if I sit down and someone's within talking proximity, I will start a conversation no matter what, and that person may become a lifelong friend. And I still have a lot of people in London that I consider lifelong friends and that are unbelievable people. In Saudi Arabia, I do. So I tend to make friends everywhere I go. And I realized, you know, in Scientology, you're taught to fear that some people may be out and after you, that 2.5% want nothing but ill will for you. So it was pleasant to see that quite a few people I met, and that most people are kind of awesome. I mean, not everyone is, we know that, but you know, talking to people, smiling and having a conversation was definitely one of the joys of being out. Okay. Where plays Go Bucks. Duchess Diana, we need to talk some point. You definitely have a lot of experience. Oh, here we go. We got some Blake Reed's in the house. What's up, Sterling? Thanks for the super chat, Blake. What was your favorite site or memory from Saudi Arabia? Also, what made you decide to move there? Is there anything you miss? Good question. Let's go the first. I do miss it. I do miss it there. I miss the family I worked for there. I had quite a few friends there, though I stay in touch with them through Instagram. It was, I don't know. It was the feeling like that every day was an adventure. You didn't know what was going to happen next. It wasn't totally predictable. It would be something I missed from it. One of my favorite things there. Let's see. That's a tricky one. One thing about Saudi Arabia, it's on the Red Sea, which has some of the best scuba diving in the world. Now, I don't scuba dive, but some of my fondest memories are going to a few of the beach resorts they had there, playing volleyball on the beach, just hanging out, chilling with friends, having drinks. There was a couple. There was a wonderful, wonderful lady flight attendant I met there that was a dance instructor. So we dated for a bit, and while I was there, she used to take me out to the kind of the underground dance clubs and social clubs, which was also kind of cool and, you know, a little risque, but it was fun. So yeah, and I moved there for work because I was out of work here and I wanted to experience something new. So thank you so much. Great question. Okay, Jayer, question: how did you get this fantastic job? So, and this question may have come up before as I was talking or so, but I'll just cover real quickly. I have a friend that was in the, you know, worked for a celebrity, and she got put in that position with a placement agency. And she just was like, she knows my character and how I am. And she was just like, Sterling, you got to try. You got to just, you know, go in there. You got nothing to lose. Do your resume and see if you can find a job there, because I know you like working with people, and I know you like working with kids, and you're always good with that. You're a great driver. So she was like, just try it out. And it went from one thing to the next. And I've been lucky and blessed for the last 13 years to always be in this field where there's not a single day that goes by where, you know, I'm not doing something I love, or that it's interesting, or I'm traveling somewhere, or I'm doing a special project that requires me to learn a completely new skill. So I enjoy it. I enjoy it. And I know whenever I describe my job, it sounds like I work for the CIA, but I promise you I don't. So I do stay in touch with them from time to time, mostly through Instagram. Not as much as I'd like to, though. Not as much as I'd like to. All right. Wonder Woman question. Any desire to go back to Saudi? Yes, I would love to go back for a visit. I would love to go back to catch up with friends and just hang out there for a little bit. I would absolutely love to do that. And I need to look into that. I have met with my friends from Saudi in London quite a few times because, as you know, that culture travels a lot to London and actually travels a lot to LA during the summer too. Okay, let's see. What else we got? Atkins in Texas. Question. What was your experience with how women were treated, whether in your friend group or in the family you worked for? Okay, so good question. Good question. It was interesting in my particular position because I got an insight into the internal workings of Saudi families, which is very, very rare for a Westerner or American to see. I was probably the only person in my position that was a male and American in Jeddah at that time. And they that was a little bit of a, for the Saudi family, that was a little bit of, you know, like, hey, we have an American guy working for us, which wasn't normal. And I remember getting asked by some of the other families if I knew anyone else in my field because they wanted to hire that. And partly because maybe I was American or because just the enthusiasm in which I approached, you know, my job and everything I did. But I got to see the inside of quite a few Saudi houses. A lot of the mothers run the households in Saudi Arabia. It is definitely, everything runs underneath them, and they schedule everything. They make sure everything's in order. So I would tend to go into a house. Now, in most cases, when I walked into a house, the mothers would cover up with the black abaya. Okay, pretty simple. You just don't see the clothes underneath. They didn't cover their hair. They didn't cover their face at all. I never had any dealings with a family where anyone covered their face. That is actually an optional thing in Saudi Arabia, believe it or not. You don't have to cover your face. It just depends on how far and how much you believe in that particular thing. But then some cases, the women would not cover up in front of me. And by that they would be wearing, you know, a tracksuit or a jumpsuit or you know, some very, very fashionable thing. And so no, that was my experience with them. They didn't, you know, there was some treatment of staff that was questionable to me, but never with the family I worked with. They were always kind. They were always gracious. They sent everyone home and paid for flights for vacations, but that's not to say it didn't happen there. But it's also not to say it doesn't happen everywhere. The family I worked for was very Americanized, and so were all the people close to them. They were polite. They understood. They were more progressive. So in all, I didn't see any horrible treatment of women while I was there, but I knew there was definitely stories about things that had happened to some ladies with the religious police specifically, which I believe are either banned now or no longer have power. But even when I dated a lovely lady from Yemen when I was there, and when I was there, you know, usually if you're a couple walking in. Now, if you're a couple walking in and you look suspicious, they will check to make sure you're married because they don't want unmarried couples walking around. They want you to be married. But because I was American, never got checked. So I could basically go into any place with a lady and no one ever checked if I was married or anything like that. So it was again, if you're American, it's a different experience. For sure. If you're European, if you're Canadian, also a different experience. But yeah, I hope that answers your question. Women were mostly treated with respect there. Another thing about Saudi that you might find surprising is that by nature, not extremists, but Saudis and Muslims in general, and I know this is going to rock the boat for some people, so I'm not talking about Israel and Palestine. That's a whole nother subject. That's a whole nother conflict. I'm not going to talk about that. But Muslims in general, middle-class Muslims, even the lower-class Muslims, violence is not a normal thing. I was there for 5 years. I never saw one fight. I saw people argue all the time. I saw people get upset at each other on a soccer field, argue in traffic, but you will never, not never, but it's very unlikely, even with road rage, will you see anyone come to blows. They will just argue with each other. And they're very good arguers. But Islam, as in general, or at least in the town I was in, violence and striking someone was a no-no. You don't do that. You're supposed to be able to use your words, talk it out, but hitting people is not a thing in Saudi Arabia. I never saw it while I was there, and I went around a lot of different places. So anyway, I hope that answers your question. All right, Duchess Diana. Question: do you know anyone who would hire me to go back? Saudi is beautiful. I wish I did, but you know what? If you want to send me an email, go to my YouTube page. You'll find under my info, my YouTube email. Go ahead and email me, and I'll see if there's someone I know that's still over there that might have an idea. Let me know. Okay. Duchess Diana. Comment, OMG. I meant hire me back there, not fire me. Spell check, erg. Yes, I got what you meant. I definitely got what you meant. Okay. Okay. Speckwall. Question: hi, son of your lovely mom. She needs a cooking channel. When will the next trivia night go live? Greetings from Germany. That was a great question, all of them. By the way, guys, next Saturday morning, I'll be doing a live with my mom again. And we'll be talking about a bunch of things. But you know, that's a great idea about the cooking channel. That would be pretty good. She actually has she actually runs an Airbnb from that house. She has a yurt in Fallbrook, just outside her house. And so I've been helping her create some content for that. Because Fallbrook is right next to Temecula, which in Southern California is wine country. And she's got this gorgeous outdoor yurt on stilts that overlooks a mountain view. It's kind of an amazing place. And so we'll be talking a little bit about that next week, and then getting into a little more stories about her time in Scientology. Next trivia night, I don't know. I need to talk to Aaron about that now that we're back into our regularly scheduled programming, which is awesome. But I will be on with the Riesling channel, as you guys have named it. Tomorrow, Reese and I will definitely be doing a live together again. And I don't know we're doing trivia. We're just going to chat. But yeah, hopefully you guys all tune into that. It'd be awesome. Oh, good question. Kimmy Steele. Question: did your Saudi employer know about your experiences in and leaving Scientology prior to hiring you? He hired me, and then about a month in, we ended up talking about my experiences. So he knew all about it. He knew all about it, and was fascinated by it, like most people were at the time. All right. Guys, K Fick 89. Yes, please reach and adjust that mic one more time, please. Guys, I figured out what I was doing wrong with my mic. I used to think that there's a tension knob over here. There's a tension knob over here that I used to think I had to adjust constantly. But once you set it, all you got to do is bring your mic up and bring your mic down. So I don't have to adjust it anymore, guys. I'm sorry. But yeah, hey, there we go. Thank you so much. Yeah, Barbie World. Barbie World. I lived in Iran, and parts of the country were absolutely gorgeous, but other parts, like the Persian Gulf, were hella hot and muggy. Yes, guys, Jeddah is a port city. It could get, the humidity could be like 99%, and it could be 104 at 8 o'clock at night. It could be brutal. I'm just lucky. I'm a heat guy. I was born in Florida. I grew up in California. Heat doesn't bug me. I used to play tennis in that weather, and I just would have to bring an extra shirt I could change into halfway through my match. The heat doesn't bug me. Yeah, I love the heat for some reason. Okay. All right. AC21 question: did you hear about the eminent domain property in Kentucky where a local government is trying to get Scientology property? I did. I know nothing about it. I believe there's a great video on it. I think AA Ron did it. But yeah, I heard about it. I don't know anything about it. Okay. Yes, please, guys, check to make sure you're subscribed if you get a chance. Thank you. Emma Robson, question: would you like to visit other parts of the UK, or have you? Always welcome here in Newcastle. I would like to visit other parts of the UK. I've done Scotland, Edinburgh. I have done London. I've been just outside of London, but I kind of love London. It's kind of where I like to go. But no, I would love to visit other parts of the UK. I love the whole country, guys. I think it's such a fantastic country. So I will definitely be getting back there soon, for sure. Enjoy the silence. Question: hello from Montreal, 32 Fahrenheit. Oof, and snowing a bit. In Saudi, could you tell us more about the food you ate, the people you met? Also, was it possible to have open conversation about their politics? Good question. Okay, so the food there was tricky. You know, obviously it's not as regulated as the United States. And I saw Duchess Diana put something in there about the food. My experience was a little different. I think they got a lot of their crops from Egypt, believe it or not, and everything seemed to be lacking in nutrients to some degree, at least as far as produce goes. It just wasn't full. And it was, you know how you have a lot of prepackaged stuff here in the United States. You could buy a bushel of lettuce or spinach, and you just rip it open and you can eat it. You don't even have to wash it because it's been washed 3 times. They didn't have that there. So it took quite a bit more work for preps for me when I was cooking and stuff like that. But yeah, other than that, the chicken was fantastic. And it was just the produce seemed to be lacking a little bit. What they did have in the grocery stores was a lot of European products, which was kind of cool. So I got to learn new things. Like, first of all, the first time I went to a Saudi grocery store, I said, "Hey, do you have any Swiss cheese?" Now, to us Americans, Swiss cheese is the cheese that has the holes in it, right? You know, everyone knows that in America. That's Swiss cheese, which is funny because there's so many cheeses in Switzerland that if you said Swiss cheese, it's like saying, "Can I get the car?" But I learned through being in Saudi that what we call Swiss cheese in the United States is actually Emmentaler. That is the official name of that type of cheese. So I've always found that fascinating. I learned that in Saudi of all places. But yeah, the restaurants there have some unbelievable Middle East food. I mean, there was chicken shawarmas where they throw fries in there. They had some, of course they had Italian places, they had burger places, but whenever they did that, it was never as good as what you could get in the United States or of course in London or Italy. But the food was okay. It wasn't great. Yeah. All right. I hope that answered your question. Oh, hey. Roxy Almeida. What's your brother's YouTube channel? Does anyone know in the mods? I'm just curious to see what it's about. And I know it's construction. I don't know the name of it, guys. I don't remember it. We brought it up once, but you know what? I'll pull it up next time to see if I have it so you guys can see it. Let me see. I might even have it in my banners. Let me just see. I don't think I do though. No, I don't. But I do have my email, guys. So there's my email if you guys want to email me. I'm going to leave that up until I bring up the next one. Tina McBride, I think I answered that question. Let me check, guys. Let's see where I'm at. Here. Oh, 9 more. Okay. Diana O, question. What is the educational system like for kids in Saudi? I couldn't tell you for sure what it's like for everyone. What they do have, which was always fascinating to see in a lot of countries like this, is they have an American school and a British school. And so the more wealthy families would send their kids to those schools, which were predominantly staffed by either Americans or British. And of course they would also fill up classes. Of course they hired locally as well. But so those schools were excellent. And I got to go on those campuses, very, very good security, all that kind of stuff. But I couldn't tell you the Saudi schools, how good they were. I do know that they absolutely hired a lot of teachers from abroad to teach at those locations so they could give the younger generation a very good education as much as possible. That's what I know about that. Oh, did someone say, is Liz Gale in here? Did I miss that? Ah, here we go. Liz Gale. Hi, Sterling. This is your first solo live I've caught any of. Good morning from Oregon, USA. Hey, Liz. Liz, I want to say I saw your live last week. I thought it was excellent. I thought you did a fantastic job. I did not know that you knew my family, at least that half of my family. I believe I even called up my brother after saying, I said, Justin, I said, do you know who Liz is? And he goes, yeah, I actually knew her brother pretty well. So I did not know he knew you. No one ever really told me, but look, I loved your interview. You did a fantastic job. Thank you so much for your content. And if you're ever up for it, I would love to do a live with you sometime, for sure. All right, let's see what else we have. Oh, Dandy Duckling, dear Sterling, please tell me that you left Saudi Arabia with the finest tobe robe, Shermga headwear, Agal black band, and black and gold Bichette formal overrobe. I unfortunately did not. I only left with the headgear. I never wore that when I was there. Some people do that when they go there. Americans, expats, they'll wear the full garb. I never did. But look, it's not a uniform by any means. And there's reasons why Saudis wear those type of clothes, where they all basically dress the same essentially. But I never did. I have this annoyance or allergy to wearing anything uniform. I do not like doing that. When I play tennis, you will never catch me wearing the same brand of everything. If I'm wearing Nike shorts, I've got an Adidas top. If I got an Under Armour shorts, I'm wearing a Nike top. I will never be uniformed. Even when I play softball and I'm on a team and they have a team shirt, I always tell them that I left it in the laundry and it's somewhere in my room and I got to find it. I don't like wearing uniforms at all. So I'm always fighting that, but it's a good question. Dogs rule question. Were there any customs that really freaked you out? The only one that freaked me out is they apparently at that time still did beheadings in a square in the downtown district area. I drove by it once, but they don't let expats that close when there are beheadings. I believe that's the death penalty, is a beheading. But I never personally saw one, but I know they did them while I was there. Okay. Wonder Woman question. Did you have culture shock returning to Scientology after time in Saudi? Well, I didn't return to Scientology after my time in Saudi. So no, no, I did not. Yeah. Barbie, I would agree. Iran, totally different than Saudi. I would agree. I've never been, but I can imagine that. I had Iranian friends, one that I worked with in Saudi and another one that moved back to London, and she's still one of my closest friends. So she was amazing. What else do we have here? Yeah. Okay. So Rodu. So the men cannot be trusted to leave women alone without law prohibiting them from even being in the same store. That says a lot about Saudi men. I don't know if it's as much about Saudi men or it's more about the archaic laws that they're keeping in place. Saudi men could be aggressive, but no more aggressive than Italian men. I mean, you ever been to Italy? So I wouldn't say that, but it is. But again, guys, this is the one similarity between Saudi and Scientology, is that they keep these rules in place without really looking at the outcome of it. And I'll give you a perfect example. So inside a shopping mall or district, you can't have women, married women, dealing with men. I'm not going to explain the whole thing. It's just, you're going to get the point of how stupid this is. So you had lingerie stores, right? Well, they didn't want, women were not allowed to work in retail back then. They were not allowed to work in retail because they didn't want them having to deal with either single or married men. They didn't want that to happen, right? For whatever reason in their text, they did not want that. They want people married. They didn't want to intermingling. Well, so they went, so we can't have that. So we're going to put men on retail in the lingerie shop. But then, of course, who's going to buy lingerie? It's women. So they tried to circumvent this thing, and in the end, they put men working in lingerie shops that were selling lingerie to women in the end, anyways. It's like, what? So don't try to make sense of it. Don't try to make sense of it. It's crazy. Okay. Oh, and my screen went out for a second. Okay, here we go. Good question. Barbie World question: can women drive? When I was there, no, they were driven everywhere. I read something somewhere where they're trying to change that. I'm not sure they have yet. That being said, too, man, the drivers there are insanely crazy. Yeah, that's going to be tough. I mean, you know, imagine you're learning to drive here and you get out there and people stay in their lanes and they're safe and they use their turn signal and they don't run lights. Saudi is a wild, crazy world when it comes to driving. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Katie Gill, question: I have a major problem with Saudi regarding the ban on gay people. Where do you stand on this? I don't know why I have to stand somewhere on that. I'm not a fan of where you stand on that. But any sort of restriction on sexual preferences is inappropriate to me. Doesn't matter where it comes from. Doesn't matter how. So yeah, that is a part of Saudi Arabia that I would disagree with. I didn't ever see anything in writing on that, but also, there's actually quite a large gay population in Saudi. Unfortunately, they have to be closeted because of, I'm assuming, something in the Quran that spoke about that. But again, I haven't personally read that. That's just what I heard while I was there. It's a free world, guys. You should be able to express and have your sexual preferences not be decided by any government or any group of people. So yeah, so that's how I feel about that. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Starshine. Starshine, my brother has been working in Saudi Arabia for over 5 years. That's cool. I wonder what he's doing there. Christy Marino, question: what field of work are you in? I don't necessarily talk about that, but I guess you guys can get a general idea. I work for a private family. That's what I do. I work for a private family. Okay. Oh, what's this? Lacey Silver, Sterling, have you ever seen the show Do Not Drive Here? No, I've not. But I'm assuming that Saudi would be in that show if they were. It's crazy. Christy Marino, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate it. Enjoy the silence. Question: how is the healthcare system there? Public, private, good? I don't know. I actually, guys, I don't go to the doctor a whole lot. I was playing I started an ultimate Frisbee kind of league there, and which was awesome. We played on one of the big compounds, and I got an injury where I landed on this edge of a metal border, and I almost ripped my Achilles. Or one of my tendons in my ankle clean through. And what was cool was that 4 or 5 of the people on my team were Marines. So man, when I got my foot cut and it started bleeding, I mean, these guys had me wrapped in the car into the hospital in under 5 minutes. And I then got stitches. But that was really my only experience there. So I got in there quickly. That got handled right away. Medical there, I'm sure, doesn't even compare to what we have in the US or other places. But, I was taken care of. So I don't actually know the answer to that question. All right. This is so true. Donna Rahai comment: apparently Saudi driving is much like Iran. My husband said you could shake hands with the neighboring car. Absolutely. It's insane. It is really crazy. What else we have? Lydia Von Stretchcock comment: you're a chatter. No wonder you work so well with Reese. Thank you so much. Okay. Atkins in Texas, great phrase. A slow unshackling of the chains. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Me and Taz, question: Sterling, have you ever visited Canada? Yes, I've been to Montreal. It was beautiful, but when I landed in Montreal, I then went about an hour north of Montreal. So I can't remember the city. I'll tell you what, almost everyone spoke French. I had a hard time getting around there. Obviously, the food was delicious. It was like a little resort town, but that was my only time in Canada. Sorry, I want to go back. Canada, you know how I feel about Canadians, guys. I don't have to continue with that one. All right. Okay. Oh, this is a good question. All right. Grandkids galore. Question: what food did you like the most, and did you share American food with them? So no, guys, they were pretty Americanized, as I mentioned before. But the food I liked the most was my boss's mom, for whatever reason, adored me. And so she would call me 2 to 3 times a week and say, Sterling, we just cooked some. And so I love Arabic food. I love Mediterranean food. It's so good. I can't even tell you what the name of it is, or I don't remember, but she would call me over 3 to 4 times a week and say, I got food for you. Come on over. And so I'd either come over and eat with her, or I would grab a to-go thing and go. But she was always so excited to give me any food she had. And it was so cute. I mean, because, mind you, I'm not a big guy, so she probably thought I wasn't eating enough. But I'll never forget that. And she was the loveliest lady ever. And yeah, so that was probably my favorite food, because I was like, 1, free food, and 2, it was always so good. I got to pick from, like 4 or 5 different plates, and then, take it home and eat it. It was awesome. Loved it. Miss Amber Sunshine. That's a good personality trait. Sounds like you never meet a stranger. A smile and manners are valuable skills of which you are proficient. Thank you so much. I think I've said that before, guys. I find that, I think it's important. I was actually waiting for last night I was in Malibu waiting for a bowl of some sort at a place. I forget what it's called, but anyways, and people were walking by, and I was just like, man, everyone's it's Friday. Maybe they're just grouchy. No one was smiling. So as I was waiting, and this place takes forever to get your order done, I was just sitting outside. I just kept trying to smile at everyone that walked by until I got a smile back. And I was only 1 for 5, guys. Only 1 for 5. I only got 1 smile back. But hey, maybe it made that person's day. So, okay. Question. Abita. If Scientology mission is to clear the planet and to provide aid to devastated areas, why are they not helping the war-torn areas, i.e. Ukraine or Jerusalem? Yeah, guys, they really don't do that. They really do not do that. That's all for public relations purposes. They sometimes bring water. They pass out the, way to happiness. It's all for PR. It's never been for anything else. When 9/11 happened, that's when they jumped on ship to try to make it seem like they were there at Ground Zero. They had maybe 4 or 5 people there at Ground Zero. They just went, ooh, this is our opportunity to look like we're doing something for the general public. We know they're not. They do not do that. And that's just PR. That's what their whole volunteer minister thing's about. Marie Monroe. Question. Did you learn the language? Shweya, which is Arabic for little. I did not learn the language. I tried to as much as possible. I learned some words here and there. Of course, I've forgotten them now since I've been gone for so long. I did enjoy trying to learn the language, but yeah, I'm not good with other languages, guys. I tried. Okay, Kestrel 42. Kestrel 42. Question, do you like roller coasters? Have you seen the massive record-breaking coaster they are building in Saudi Arabia? Falcon's Flight. Tallest, longest, and fastest coaster in the world by a lot. I do not like roller coasters, guys. I don't know if it's age, if it's equilibrium, whatever it is in my ears or something. Man, they will mess me up something else. What I do love is water parks. I can go on water slides all day long. I love Raging Waters. I loved it since I was a kid, and I try to go there whenever I can. It is so much fun. So water parks are my thing. Thank you for asking. Emmy, question. Did you ever get funny looks during prayers? Asking because when I lived as an expat in California, I would sometimes get them if I didn't stand up for the flag. Makes me wonder. During prayers, I didn't stand up as an expat. Oh, as a reverse, you got, no, I never did. No, but I was very respectful too. So I wouldn't make noise during prayers, but I didn't have to do prayers. So if I was driving by a mosque, they would be doing prayers inside. That happens. I wouldn't blare my music or turn it on when I was driving by them, just being respectful of the culture. On the other hand, yes, I could see why if you didn't stand when doing the national anthem or something like that, you would get the looks. That is typically an American thing, but no, they don't give you looks. They also know I'm most likely not Muslim, so they weren't expecting me to do that. Okay. What else do we have? Okay. Poetry Chick 1275. Question. It is obvious how much you love to travel. Would you consider taking another job that would let you do similar travel and work? I would. I definitely would. But I actually do travel quite a bit on my existing job. And I also have the opportunity to take trips myself and go places. So I'm very content and happy with what I have right now. Thanks for asking. Good question. Mariko True. Would you ever consider writing a memoir of your time in that area of the world, or would it compromise the safety of friends still there? It would not compromise anyone's safety of friends still there. Not much of a writer. It's kind of why, after telling everyone I would not be doing a YouTube channel, I then did a YouTube channel. I'm a chatterer. I think talking and answering questions about it is far more interesting and enjoyable for me. So, but never say never, right? Never say never. I love fun facts. Purple Groovy 69. Fun fact: Saudi Arabia is the largest country in the world without a river. I did not know that. That's amazing. It's also very, very like I think 95% of Saudis live on the coast or in Riyadh. The whole middle section of Saudi Arabia is all desert and almost completely empty. Yeah. Tina McBride. Question. Did they know about your experience in Scientology? I did tell them about it eventually. They were fascinated by it for sure. They were fascinated by it for sure. I believe my boss at the time there had read Dianetics when he was going to school at Harvard. So, Karen Whelan. Question. You were chatting the other day about being punished for not knowing the rules of Scientology, but why would you pay money for classes to learn if you already should know the rules? Karen, I'm sorry. I don't understand that question. I was punished for many things in Scientology. I don't know about not knowing the rules. And I also didn't pay for classes. So maybe you can clarify and I'll try to get to your question at the end. Okay. Me and Taz. Question. Sterling, did you ever go watch thoroughbred horse racing in Saudi? They like horse racing in Saudi. No, I never did, actually. I never did. I never saw that. I did go watch camels race, though. That was kind of cool. All right. Okay, guys. Any other questions in here? Mindy Doolin. Hi, Sterling. I'm just here waiting to start playing Fortnite like a child. Enjoy a happy smile life. LOL. I've never played Fortnite, but I hope you have a great time doing that. I'm more of a sports games. I'll play FIFA, MLB, Madden, but I'm a complete nut for Halo 4-on-4 Capture the Flag. That is one of my favorite games ever. I'll do that drinking and then play till 3 o'clock in the morning fighting with people about it. It's pretty fun. Not online though, with the group in my place. I don't like to play online necessarily. All right. Janet. Hey, question. What field are you in now? Sorry if you already said. Enjoy hearing about your journey. Thank you. No problem, Janet. Thank you for asking. I work for a private family now. So I do a lot of different things for them, but I work for a private family. So that's what I do. Atkins in Texas. My understanding is that Saudi Arabian women don't have the right to travel with a passport, choose their own spouse, and are sometimes forced to marry as property when they are children. So Atkins in Texas, thank you. So I've heard that information before. I haven't personally seen it because I have known couples that have been married and then it was an arranged marriage, meaning they were introduced to each other and they didn't end up really liking each other, so got divorced later on. But that's a one-off situation. The rule, I believe, as it is that the husband must give permission for the wife to leave the country, which is oppressive. I don't believe that's still the case there, but I could be wrong. But you're right. There are parts of the Saudi culture which are outdated and not correct. And I don't not acknowledge that. I understand that. I do understand that. Thank you for the question. Yeah, you know what? I agree, Shelly. Cooking channel would be super cool with Biddy. I'm going to ask her about that. She loves cooking and so good at it. So good at it. Duchess Diana. Thank you, Sterling. I already thought you were a especially awesome person. Thank you, Duchess Diana. That's really nice of you to say. Okay, we got a lot of people in here. That's cool. Let me see where we're at. Let me see. Because I'm a number counter. Up, 7 away. 7 away. How cool would it be if I hit 11,000 when I'm on the stream with you guys? So if you're on here and you haven't subscribed, please go check it out. If you haven't hit the like button, knock yourself out. I'm going to go. Here we go. I'm going to go for about 15 more minutes, which means probably about 30 more minutes because I love answering your questions and I want to get to as many as I can. All right. Oh, here we go. This is a good one. Margaret L. Have you ever been to Bahrain? My son is in the Coast Guard, and there is a large contingent of military there. I've never been to Bahrain. I would love to go there. I've been to Qatar, Dubai, and Saudi. Those are the main places I've been in the Middle East. And Egypt. Never went to Jordan. I really wanted to go to Jordan, so I'll have to do that sometime. Clarette Landsman, absolutely love your channel. You have such an amazing aura. Thank you so much. That's so sweet of you to say. Here we go. Sharon Bevan. Question, when you coming to Australia? I would love to go to Australia. It's a long flight. I've never been. And I think my Italian friend, one of my closest Italian friends, lives in Australia. So that might be a fun trip to do sometime. And then I could hit up Japan as well while I'm over there, which I've always wanted to do. So hey, hopefully soon. Mindy Doolin, how does Cali heat compare to Australian heat? Can anyone compare? I'm curious. I'd like to know. I don't really think there's a dry heat here in California. So you have to stay hydrated. It's a little deceiving sometimes, but I don't believe it's that hot here. Really don't ever. To me, it doesn't really get that hot. I'm also working in Malibu, so it never gets above 90 in Malibu. But anyways, here we go. Roxanne made a question. What's the name of your brother's YouTube channel? Again, I don't know. Sorry. Okay, Carrie Wilson. Question, what is it about London that you love so much? I have heard you say that more than once. One thing is that after I had started working in Saudi, I traveled to London for the first time. And it was when walking through Hyde Park with my headphones on, listening to music. The sun was going down, glistening off the lake. There were swans. There was people enjoying life walking around me. And I just remember that being the very first time where I really, really felt I was free, that I had no ties, that I could do what I wanted and those sort of things. And then because I spent a lot of time there after that, I just fell in love with the food in London. I fell in love with the culture. I love history. I don't know, everything about London I loved. So that's kind of where that comes from. That is why I have the Union Jack behind me. But I also have a couple of other pictures. That's just the one that fit best. And then it also just worked out. So yeah, there we go. I hope that answered your question. Zell Key, question, did you only see Jeddah or were you able to sneak into some cities only Muslims can visit? Good question. Yes, I actually, I played in a softball tournament in Riyadh. I played for the Marine Corps team at a softball tournament in Riyadh. Unfortunately, we lost to the U.S. Embassy on that tournament, which is really a bummer. Maybe I'll pull up some pictures sometime. And on the way back, all the flights were booked, and I had an awesome friend who was there. I believe his wife was a school teacher. His name's Robert Grebick, and he I forget what he was doing there at the time actually, but he was there for the softball tournament, and so he gave me a seat in his car on the way back. We drove all the way back from Riyadh to Jeddah, and we drove through Mecca on the way through. And I definitely was not supposed to be in Mecca. But his wife at the time was Muslim, so I guess she could be in there. But anyways, that was the only time I went to a place I wasn't supposed to. Thank you for asking. Oh, interesting. Okay, Duchess Diana, comment. I live in Massachusetts, where produce is really not great. So Qatar was so much better. If you love in South U.S. food, it's better than North. Okay. If you love South food, it's better than North. Yeah, maybe you did have a different experience in Qatar as far as produce goes, but I think we got most of our produce from Egypt, and it just didn't, like nothing was vibrant in color and tasted kind of bland. Jonathan Silvermoon, question: what's your thoughts on the next gen finals in Jeddah? I have to say, I don't know what the next gen finals are. If you want to clarify before I'm done, that'd be great. Question: what kind of topics are off limits to your Saudi friends? I didn't think they had anything off limits. At least we never discussed what was off limits. So, but they're very polite, educated. There was, we didn't really go deep into things. I understood where they were coming from. I also tend not to offend people. I'm not going to beat someone up about something they don't have control over at the moment. That being said, if they had been cruel or mean, I would have called them out on it, but they weren't. They were very polite. They were very nice and appropriate. So, good time there. Oh, this is cool. Janet Marshall. I was almost born in Saudi Arabia in 1950. My dad was an iron worker and was hired to work there. A short time before their departure, my mom discovered she was pregnant and she wouldn't go. Nah, I can understand that. I can absolutely understand that, especially back then. It was a very, very undeveloped country. If you guys have a chance, watch a documentary on Saudi Arabia. It's actually kind of a fascinating story. The relationship between Saudi Arabia and the United States is also kind of fascinating. It's just been an interesting dynamic for the longest time. So there's probably some really good YouTube documentaries on the subject, and you're welcome to go. If you get a chance, I would go watch one of those so you get a better idea. And you can ask me questions next time, what I think about it. So there we go. Hey, Barb, how you doing? Good to see you here. And Liz Gale, thanks. Yes, good to meet you. Good to meet you too, Liz. Hopefully we can talk sometime. Purple Groovy 69. Question: has anyone ever called you by these nicknames? Sterling Heights, Sterling Master, Sturmaster, Sterling the Stunner. No, you missed it on all those. Guess what? You can keep guessing. I'll tell you when you got close to one. But that's funny. Thank you so much. Where are we at? I never know how far down I am, guys, but I appreciate that you're all in here. Let's see where I'm at. Oh, we're so close. Oh, four away, guys. 4 away to 11,000. Okay. Maria Monroe. I did not question, did you learn the language? No, I didn't. I learned a little bit of it, but not all of it. Very little bit of it, actually. Okay. All right. Fan of Kimmy. Can women drive in Saudi? They could not drive then. I've heard rumors that that's changing, but I'm not sure it has. Yeah. Did I go backwards? I already got that question. Interesting. Okay. Storm 922. It's called Chop Chop Square, where punishment is handed out. Also, yes, women can drive now. So there we go. I'm going to take your word for it. It was called Chop Chop Square. That is the name of it. And that's great. Women can drive now. That's fantastic. They are trying to make changes, which is kind of unbelievable. Hey, if Saudi can make changes, you think Scientology could? No. Okay, here we go. Oh, interesting question. Phoenix Rising, great picture, by the way. Hi, Sterling. I just joined the chat, so forgive this question if it was already asked. No, you don't need forgiveness for that. You're totally good to ask a question. Is cursing banned? No, it wasn't. But again, if people were arguing in Arabic, I wouldn't know if there was a curse word or a slur in there or not, but I don't remember it being banned. I could be wrong about that. Guys, I don't swear that much, so I know it wasn't banned with me. But there we go. I hope that answers your question. Yeah. Elizabeth Stallings. How do the wealthier Saudis handle the changes they experience with their families when they have so much freedom in foreign countries and then go back? That's a pretty interpersonal question. I couldn't tell you how they did that. The family I worked for didn't change. They acted the same way when they were in the US or in London as they did in Saudi. They were guys, you know, I worked for a cult my entire life. Horrible people like Dave Miscavige, Jenny DeVock, mistreated, sleep deprived. I really, truly think somehow, some way, I was blessed to work for probably some of the nicest people you'll ever meet in Saudi Arabia. And I'm blessed now to work for the people I work for. So after all those years of being surrounded by very, very questionable people, I've, in the last 13 years, been blessed to be around really great people. So yeah, there we go. Tampa B man, my favorite surfer dude. Thank you so much, guys. I'm going to get to the rest of the super chats up there. Okay, what else do we got? Okay, this is a good question. Sarah S. Hi, Sterling. Now I want to know what kind of hospital was it? Saudi, U.S. military? Did the medical staff speak English? It was definitely a Saudi hospital. Most people in the hospitals and even professionals in Saudi Arabia do speak English. That being said, I never went to a military hospital. I just said that the people that took me were the Marines. And so they were, I mean, God, these guys were awesome. They had me there so quickly. I actually have a picture of me in the hospital. Maybe I'll pull that up sometime and I'll put it on my thing. Cause you know, even though it was a pretty nasty looking injury, it was bleeding all over the place. And I just missed, you know, chopping a tendon in half, which would have basically put me, you know, out for a long, long time. I wasn't traumatized by it. I just kept a smile on my face and knew that it happened and that, you know, I would have to deal with it. And so, you know, I did. But thank you for asking. Oh yeah. Jilly, comment. If you come back to Canada, come out west to the Rocky Mountains or the West Coast. Absolutely. We'll do that. I'd love to. Okay, good question. Blake Reed, thank you so much for the super chat. Blake, you don't always have to put a super chat in. I will answer your question also. What is the theater experience like in Saudi or Scientology? So when I was in Saudi, no theaters. Now they have theaters, but they do edit a little bit of the film. So if there is a gratuitous sex scene, they will cut that out. And that's just what they do for some reason. It's strange because sometimes that scene does relate to the overall storyline, but that's what they do. I believe now they have theaters and people go to them, and which is kind of exciting. You know, we used to have to wait till we were going to London or the US to see movies. So I'm glad they're doing that now. In Scientology, as you know, when we did get time off, it was very minimal. So we would tend to almost always go to the movie theaters just to catch up on whatever movie or hope that the movie we really wanted to see was in the theater. But to give you a little story on that, which is interesting, is when the new Star Wars came out, not the most recent ones, but the Jar Jar Binks version of Star Wars came out. I was the only person at Golden Era Productions that was allowed to go see that on opening weekend. And that was because there was one of the more favorable and good people there. His name was Steve Willett. And this is actually who Mike Brown worked for when he was at Golden Era Productions. And he was the CEO of Gold, and he was always very nice to me. I think he genuinely liked me, and I actually liked him. We were doing a project for, I think, translations. And so we were doing videos, and they needed someone at a computer to transfer files consistently so that editing could add subtitles to these videos. And it was a big blitz. Everyone, and I basically, Steve Willett, as the in charge, as the commanding officer of Golden Era Productions, walked into the editing bay one day and he said, "Sterling, if you can get everything done by Friday, what do you want?" And I said, "I would love to go see the new Star Wars movie if I can." And he said, "You got it. If it's done by Friday." I stayed up for 4 straight days, no sleep, so I could go see Star Wars. I slept the night before I went to see Star Wars on Saturday, but I stayed up for 4 days straight getting that done. And I was the only person who got to go see Star Wars on its opening weekend. Some other people trickled and saw it later, but yeah, that was a good movie experience. I actually appreciate that, though questionable on staying up 4 straight nights. I don't think that really helped me health-wise. All right. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Oh, that's a good one. Okay. I got to watch this. Roxy Almeida. If you want to explore the Saudi Arabia experience, subscribe to Drew Brinsky's travel channel. He has a whole series just on Saudi Arabia. He's been to 197 countries over the past few years. That's awesome. That's something I would definitely go. Mindy Doolin. Sterling, can I ask what books you have sitting on the shelf behind you? I can see Leah and question. Guys, that's a great question. Someone, a troll, I'm guessing, said that I had adjusted the order of my books based on the whole kerfluffle that happened with the Aftermath Foundation. That's not true. I did readjust them to the 2 most beautiful faces, Leah and my little sister. But no, I didn't change them for that reason. I did adjust them because of just how it looked. I was a little bit of I like the way it laid out this way better, but all the same books are still there. I've got Janice's book at number 3, which she's giving me a hard time about. I apologize. It just worked out that way. But behind me, I've got Mark Headley's book, Blown for Good, Janice's book, Commodore Messenger, my little sister's book, Beyond Belief. If you haven't read it, you should. Leah's book, which is still one of my favorites books I've read on the subject of leaving Scientology, because her story as a celebrity was quite different than mine, but I was still surprised to hear some of the things that happened. But I'm now going to go up on this side. So this is Mike Rinder's book. Some people have accused me of not having Mike Rinder's book up here. It's up here. It's in my stacked books. George Orwell, 1984. London Lore by Steve Round. Fantastic book on London. Orwell on Freedom. It's Not My Fault, which is a fun tennis book. And then I've got Be Happy, which is just kind of like a self-help book, which is kind of cool and fun. And then above that, which I'm going to actually have to show you this, guys. But this is my volleyball. I don't know if any of you guys are beach volleyball fans, but St. John Smith is the OG beach volleyball player who started in Santa Monica. He was big in the 90s. That's his autograph. I have a friend that was one of his coaches, so she got me that. I love that. This, my aunt sent me, which is kind of cool. This is a Bible. Guys, I'm not religious by nature. There we go, Bible. But this is a Bible that belonged to my dad. So my aunts are awesome. They send me from time to time. Books that my dad either had as a kid or something like that as a memory, because as you know, my father unfortunately is disconnected from me. But yeah, so it's like that's my dad's writing. That's him. He filled in the front of the book, which was so cool. So yeah, so that's kind of a memory thing. On this side, while we're bouncing over to it, I have Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari. Fantastic book. 1,200 Words You Should Know to Sound Smart. I have friends that give me a hard time about that book. Tim Kirkjian, I'm Fascinated by Sacrifice Flies, a great baseball book. Then I have It Ain't Cheating If You Don't Get Caught, which is a book that someone bought me as a kid. It's all about the people trying to cheat in baseball over the last 150 years. It's hilarious. It's really funny. It's got a lot of great stories in it. Anyways, and guys, I love baseball. So A History of the World in 6 Glasses, really good book about alcohol and how it played a role in society in ancient Rome, Egypt, all this kind of stuff. So it's really good. And then the other 2 are mixology books. And then I have How to Make Coffee. And then up here, you see I have a book called Assholes, which is just a book about, assholes. Excuse my language. And then the other one's a tequila dictionary. So there we go. Mindy Doolin. Those are all my books on the shelf. Okay, let's see what else we got. Wow, I did not know this. Namo1, thank you so much for the super chat. The Queen of England drove the Saudi king. Insane. Did not know that. A lot has happened there since I left. Good and bad. All right. Okay, enjoy the science. North of Montreal, Mont Tremblant, please come back. Be happy to host you starting out. Thank you so much. I do believe that's where I went. I'm not totally sure, but it was right up against the mountains. There was skiing and stuff like that. So I'll have to check that out. Guys, I'm going to get to the super sticker shortly here. Elizabeth Stallings. Oh, you're back again. Here we go. Question. How do wealthier families who travel to foreign countries handle the lack of freedom they have when they go home? Shopping, dressing, socializing. Well, out of those three things, the only difference when they go home is that they cover up with the black abaya over top their clothes when they go out. Otherwise, absolutely tons of socializing. The shopping is really, really good there. So they do all those things still. So that doesn't change much. They've got giant shopping malls in Saudi Arabia. And when they socialize, they go between each other's houses and they have large gatherings where they'll hang out and talk for a while, smoke shisha and that sort of stuff. So yeah. There we go. Blake Reed, question. Sterling, have you ever watched Dune? There are many parallels to Saudi Arabia in the text. Dune Part 1 was riveting and gorgeous. Can't wait for Part 2. Blake, dude, I could not agree with you more. I was so pissed off when I got the end of Dune 1, the new one, guys, the new version. I was so angry that it ended. I could not believe it. I was like, you're kidding. I have to wait for a second one now. It is so, so good, guys. If you haven't seen Dune, please go check it out. The cast, the directing, the cinematography is out of this world. And yes, I can't wait for Part 2 either. Cannot at all. Okay. Rachel XOXO UK. Thank you so much for the super chat. Always a sofa for you in the Highlands of Scotland. LOL. No spare room, but door always open. Thank you so much. Christy Marino. Sorry, did not mean to ask anything if you did not want to share. Did you ask something I didn't want to share? I'm not sure about that. I'll look back to see if you had something, but no, I don't remember anything I didn't want to share. Okay. Don's in the house. Hey, Don, how you doing? Don Paris. Hi, Sterling, handsome guy. Hi, everyone. Okay. Okay, good question. Sid Whittle. Ooh, that's a cool name. Question. You mentioned drinking on the beach. Isn't alcohol legal in Saudi? I don't know that I said drinking on the beach. Saudi is, drinking is illegal in Saudi. When I would have alcohol, it would be because I would be invited to a party with anyone from the military, and they got rations. So that would be the only chance to have real alcohol. That being said, I really didn't drink that much in Saudi either. So, which was actually good. I saved it all for when I went to London. Let's see here. Let's see where I'm at. Oh, 3 away, guys. 3 away. Okay. Oh, okay. ME plus Taz. Question. How's Mitch's book? It's good, guys. I haven't read it since Wednesday, but I'm going to try to get back to it. And yeah, it's very well written and it's interesting. He's a director, so his descriptions are very visual. I'm not even to the meaty parts of the book, which is where I really want to get to, the parts about Golden Era Productions, his interactions with Dave Miscavige and stuff like that. So I'm not to that part yet, but I'm just in the beginning part. I did not know his story when he was younger. Some of it's very sad. If you have not gotten the book, please go get it. It's an very interesting read. So there we go. Okay. I'm assuming the midnight show question, UAE or Saudi. I'm assuming the question is, which one would I like to go to? I only spent a little time in UAE, so I don't know which one I would like more, to be honest with you. I don't know. Okay. Sarah S. Question. Hi, Sterling. Is it possible for American women to visit Saudi as tourists? Would you recommend it? I'm not sure if it is. At this point, I'd have to actually go check their website. I would recommend it just to get there's some unbelievably stunning locations in Saudi Arabia. If you did go, I would suggest going with your husband or with a male partner. It might be a little more enjoyable for you if that were the case. And I mainly say that because not that I think it's unsafe there, just that you may feel safer about having someone with you. Or if you do go with a girlfriend. But you know, they go out of their way to ensure and make sure that foreign expats and U.S. citizens are safe when they're there. That's for sure. Okay. What else we got? Yadira, Sterling. Hey, Nugget. Hi, Yadira. How you doing? Okay. Purple Groovy, good try. This is funny. Hi, Kirk. Oh, I froze. No. Oh, I should have known. Okay, guys, can you put in the chat if you can still hear me? I would appreciate that. I'm back. There we go. Yeah, drink Sterling froze, but for some reason it just went right back. So that's awesome. Okay, we're almost done here. 5 more minutes, guys. Yeah, let me check. See where we're at. Oh, like torture, guys. 3 more away. Here we go. And then it means I passed a lot. Yes, take a drink, guys. I froze. It's Saturday morning. Probably don't take a drink unless it's coffee. Okay, let's see. Yay. Thank you so much. Yadira. Happy birthday, Yadira. I hope you have a wonderful day. Okay. Touch assist like that. Phoenix Rising. Hi, Sterling, longtime sub, first time chat. I also love history, especially ancient Egypt, and would love to hear more about your trip there. Guys, yeah, maybe I should do something. I mean, it was eventful in that it was Egypt and it was unbelievable. I have some fantastic photos from it, but other than that, I mean, it would just be me talking about, like, guys, if you haven't seen the pyramids, it's got to be on your bucket list. No photos do them justice for the size and majesty of standing at the base of those things. It's quite stunning. Quite stunning. Okay. What else do we have? Oh, that's cool. Lori plays listening to Jenna's book on audio now. What I like is they got a reader whose voice is actually really similar to Jenna's. That's cool. I didn't know that. Did not know that. Blake Reed, at the end of the movie, my dad was like, what? Yeah. In the middle of a mostly quiet theater room, I was pissed too. I don't care if they make a 3-hour movie. I need my weirding fix. That's so good. Okay. Let's see. I know I agree. You guys went off on Dune. Okay, good. Oh, Atkins in Texas. I just finished Subliminal on your recommendation. I had read Emotional and some of Drunkard's Walk by the same guy. Thanks for the rec. Yeah, guys, I have it here. Let me pull it up. This is a fantastic book if you've not read it yet. Leonard Moldenoff, Subliminal, How Your Unconscious Mind Rules Your Behavior. Check it out if you haven't read it. It's really, really good. Really, really good. Okay. Shelly, question. Have you ever attempted to write your dad and stepmom praying for them to leave the cult? Thank you so much for your prayers. No, and there's no purpose in that. They're not going to answer. It's going to be gone through by the church before it gets to them. So I'm not going there with that one. Oh yeah. Hey, great idea. Carrie B, question. Sterling, can you post the titles, please, on the community page? I know My husband would like a few. Absolutely will. I'll take pictures and post titles for sure. You got it. You got it. Okay. That's so true. Lydia von Stretchkoff, Sterling, I love this, my volleyball. Also throws it across the room. I rolled it across the room, but I will put it back up, I promise. Yadira. Question, when is our next Riesling live? Sorry if it's been asked already. It's tomorrow. It is tomorrow, guys. We'll be going back live tomorrow. And then I'm hoping to get on with Aaron sometime this week and a few other people I've actually talked to. Clear Sky Inspiration. Question, what are your subs now? I'm going to check one last time here. And then I'm going to do the super chats, and then we are out, folks. 3-way, 10,997, guys. So close, so close. Let me go to super chats. Okay. Oh man, that's a bummer, guys. When it got refreshed, I lose the super chats. Oh, that's so annoying. I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I wish that didn't happen. I wanted to get to those. Guys, if I missed your super chat, I apologize. Next time, ask me the same question and ask it without sending a super chat, and I'll get to it. Yeah. Let me see. Anything else? Yes, pyramids are amazing. Okay, guys, I think that's it. Hey, thank you to everyone that tuned in today. Again, I'll be going on tomorrow with Reese. Next Saturday, I'll be doing an interview with my mom. I love some of your suggestions about ideas for her channel. So please bring those up next week when we do this live. And I hope everyone, as usual, has a wonderful Saturday or Sunday, depending on where you're at, and have a great weekend and have a great holiday. And we will talk later this week. Thank you so much, guys.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?